This is in the hot seat. Mohammed Hijab interviews Dr. Yasir Qadhi. Okay, so I'm wearing my COVID mask here. Sorry if you can't hear me very well.
Okay, so another question that people had, which was due to some of the stuff you said recently about the hudud being bizarre or something of that nature, or problematic. I'm not sure exactly the phraseology you used. The question I have is, what did you mean by that? Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing is, what is your belief of the place of hudud in a, for example, a Muslim nation?
So, as this is a perfect question for a follow-up from the previous. This is not something I said recently. It's something I said 4 or 5 years ago.
Ah, okay. So it was 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. Okay, it's just an ad here. Okay. Okay, so this is several years ago, right? Like 5 years. So many years ago he said this. So I saw videos recently. Why? I don't understand why those brothers did the videos recently. Okay, but let's see what he had to say. Anyway.
Right. And again, these video clips are online. As I said, I have over almost 2,000 video clips.
Okay, so why doesn't he just get rid of some of them? Does he still have that opinion there on his channel?
Almost 2,000 video clips. And Allah has tested me with a group of people who seem a bit unnaturally obsessed with me in particular, to somehow try to prove that I'm not an authentic version of their Islam. And
well, he says he's not Salafi anymore, so he's not in the majority of, Salafis, right? So it's possible that many Salafis are, disagreeing, at odds with Yasir, right? So anyway, let's hear what he says to defend himself.
And Allah tests people in different ways, and I suppose for me in particular, one of the issues that definitely did cause this is the fact that I started off a mainstream, Najdi Salafi for a while, and then moved on, a few years being Athari, but not necessarily Najdi. Now I'm post-Athari, so...
Okay, so he's post-Athari, whatever that means. Okay, like... people, change. They sometimes get different opinions. They don't maybe ascribe themselves to a specific, so-called strand or whatever.
What happens is that my base, some of it has evolved with me.
But the main thing is, what is your base? Like, I was going to say this in the intro, that, the main thing is, do you have a firm understanding of the main issues? Like, is your Aqidah firm? Do you understand Sharia is, we don't compromise on Sharia, right? You understand that. So he does explain that in Muslim countries, Sharia should be applied, and he agrees with Sharia in Muslim countries. But then you have to hear what he said in somebody else's video. I'll also record that and share it with you.
And some of them, they see my evolving as being deviation. And so they are...
Some of them.
They feel betrayed. Some of them are sincere. I'm not denying that. And some of them just feel as if I'm a threat to another religion of Islam. The point being that in the end, Allah will judge our success.
Yeah, the thing is, he said earlier in this video that you shouldn't cause confusion. Like, just causing confusion is a problem. That's what he said. That people should not cause confusion to, new Muslims by pointing out other people's faults. But he himself causes confusion, not by pointing out other people's faults, but just by being himself and the way he speaks. He warns against using language that, will cause confusion, having opinions that are not the majority opinion, but then he goes and uses confusing language and has an opinion that is by far a minority opinion. It's possible that some of his opinions are not shared by any other Muslim on earth, and that he is the only one that believes those things.
These people, they every once in a while pick up a 10-second clip on some aspect and then start making a big issue of Dal and Mudil and Zandaqa and Takfir comes out. And again, I
Right,
don't
which is wrong.
respond to these
To make
generally,
takfir on
because if
people
I
is
were to
wrong.
open this door, Muhammad, yes, I think last year, an article, an academic article was published about me, accusing me of being a Shia phobe, a person who hates Shia.
Okay, forget
And the
this.
irony of
Anyway,
ironies is that the Salafis say that I'm sympathetic to Shia.
Right,
The Shia say
okay.
I'm anti-Shia. The progressives say
He's kind of straw manning here,
conservatives
going
say
into
I'm
Shia and
liberal.
stuff. This
Can
has
you
nothing to
imagine
do
if I were to
with
open
his.
this door to defend
What is
myself
his
against
actual
every single
belief about
accusation? So
hudud?
because of your context and backgrounds, you're hearing.
What does he actually say about hudud? He's like going off on a tangent here.
Right? And so it's as if the refutations cancel themselves out. That is one of the main reasons I don't get involved in defending myself, because it's not really about me. But you bring up this question, and it shows you one of the problems of madkhalism or neo-madkhalism. We have to waste our time discussing this issue. None of my
He's
students,
saying this discussion is a waste of time. Defending himself from this accusation is essentially a waste of time. That's what he just said.
Nobody who listens to my lectures would ever get the impression that I'm dismissing hudud. I just gave a series of Quran, 30 lessons in Ramadan, and before even this fitna began, this controversy.
In Ramadan now, but what did he say 5 years ago?
The verses of hudud came up, and you can listen
and
to
is he
me
going
talk
to
over
defend
there.
it again?
I gave that famous LGBT talk earlier this year in my masjid, which went viral, and in it I very explicitly mentioned the Islamic hudud on this crime and contextualized it. No student of mine would ever derive what these, drama queens, I'm sorry to say this, want to derive from their 10 seconds and make a big deal about it. Just like what
I'm kind of angry actually that those two videos I watched are quoting him in an old lecture. So that is very, I wrote a comment, I might just delete it now because it's and I'll just upload this video instead.
And Sayyid Qutb, they create a controversy that is non-existent, and they think that they're somehow doing this, service to the ummah to discover a secret hidden agenda. Allah musta'an. By the way, these are the tactics of the far right, by the way. And I want to say here for the record that anybody who's sincere amongst them, inshallah, they are forgiven in this world, much less the next, of course.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, to be fair, are sincere, because when I put the question on my community page, a lot of them are your followers,
No, I'm not talking about the followers. I'm talking about those that are doing
obviously.
No,
Muhammad didn't understand that. Right.
The followers, may Allah protect their iman. And for the record, without any sense of false humility or modesty, this is the fact. Stick with the people of knowledge whom you trust. If you feel a person is doubtful, including me, leave that person. I'll be the first to say it. It's not.
Yeah, so I don't really have a very high opinion of Yasir Qadhi. I've never had a very high opinion of him. I just thought he was, an okay dawah person, a regular kind of speaker. I don't find him that eloquent or anything. And I do think that he does cause confusion, to be honest.
Not about personalities. It is about the religion of Allah.
Sometimes I think he likes to be the center of controversy. Because otherwise, why does he keep saying things that are ambiguous, that people take out of, not out of context, that people always seem to misunderstand? And, he should word his lectures in a more understandable fashion, instead of using these kind of tag words like medieval. And I did notice that after I put a comment explaining what medieval means, that he shortly after that actually made a video where he was explaining that medieval just means in that time period. He could have just said that at the beginning in the original video, that by medieval I mean, not backwards, but Why does he always assume that everyone is going to know exactly what he's getting at, you know? He's talking about lay people and you have to watch your language. Well, then you always have to watch your language as well. Okay.
If you feel that a particular individual or sheikh is guiding you to Allah and His Messenger in a perfect or a better manner, go with that person. If you have, I'm getting there. Yes. Now, the issue comes, as I said, I wear multiple hats, right? I'm a professor who teaches non-Muslims at the time. I'm a preacher who gives khutbahs and mawa'id. I'm a public lecturer who, to address non-Muslims, and I have made a promise to myself. This is my promise, that whatever I say, it should be factually correct. I have to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The problem comes when these fledgling sophomores, I call them neophytes, but then my other group makes fun of me. They Google the word, they look it up, and then they start using it as a slur on their side. Call them what you will, complete novices. They don't understand that لِكُلِّ مَقَامٍ مَقَالٍ. What you say is not going to be the same on the audience depending on when and how you are saying it. When you teach advanced classes, is not the same as when you give a fatwa. When you preach a lecture in the khutbah, is not the same as when you address 50,000 people in a convention. When you speak to a non-Muslim academic audience, is not the same as when you speak to a non-Muslim, hostile, generic, general public audience. And so this clip that they have of me is me being invited to a community that was going through a lot of issues. The first time they had a public Muslim speaker, it's outside of, I think, Massachusetts, Boston somewhere, slaves going on this and that. The more problematic, the better it is. And so these questions are coming in from a hostile, general public, non-Muslim audience. Jayyid. Now, we understand, therefore, that this is not an advanced class, it's not aqidah, it's not teaching, it's basically addressing non-Muslims. To say that a text is problematic, mushkil, is not something that is strange to any student of knowledge.
So now he's saying students of knowledge, but he was talking in a public, generic forum to a bunch of non-Muslims. And then he's using language that, you know, non-Muslims are supposed to understand as like, oh, well, I didn't mean that Islam is problematic. But he's using that word in front of an audience of non-believers. So if a Muslim student can understand that, but a Muslim who is not a student, who is a lay person, you could say that a lay person who's a Muslim and a non-Muslim have the same kind of, maybe almost an equal understanding of some important issues, like hudud. So saying that hudud is problematic, you're teaching ignorant Muslims and, you know, lay people and non-Muslims that, you know, hudud can be changed, that they are not something that we should uphold in a Sharia, in a Muslim country, where we should impose Sharia, right?
In fact, Al-Tahawi has sharh mushkil al-adab.
And of course there's exceptions and stuff.
That are problematic. Ibn Fawrak has mushkil al-hadith, the problematic hadith. Ibn Hajar, when he talks about the hadith of Adam being 60 cubits tall, and then he goes,
okay, now he's going off on a tangent again. I don't know.
Have any indication, وَهَذَا mushkil, and this is problematic.
Oh, okay, I see.
And then he goes, I don't have an answer to this. Any advanced student of knowledge knows that this term in and of itself is not problematic.
Okay, but Yasir knows that, I mean, was that lecture in front of Muslim students of yours? Or was it in front of a public of non-Muslims and other people? See, what I don't understand where he's getting here.
It is factually correct to point out, and I'm sorry to be a little bit harsh here, but anybody with the 2-digit IQ would understand.
Right, okay.
It is
so just insult so many of us here. Okay. Explain it to me, because I guess I'm a dummy. You know.
And the norms that we follow, they are problematic. Just like Ibn Hajar says, the hadith of 60 cubits is mushkil in light of
what does that have to do with hudud?
He's not, a'udhu billah, dismissing the hadith. He's simply...
That has nothing to do with hudud. Okay, it's mushkil. So hudud is mushkil in what way? It's a problem in terms of what? Like a math equation is a problem. He means like it's something that you have to solve. Okay, I could accept that. you know, it's a thing you have to solve. Okay, so let's say it's a problem. It is like an equation in mathematics. Okay, so instead of putting your foot in your mouth or, you know, backtracking on everything you say, just watch how you say things from the beginning. It would help, right?
Pointing out a factual statement that it is a problem. The Quran says, وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ. This is a verse that is problematic for our culture. Is that something wrong with that? Not at all. You are.
Can I come back and
problematic for the culture? Okay.
A little bit. Because I know what a lot of people will be kind of saying here. And so to represent.
Okay, so he's playing the devil's advocate here, Mohammed.
I think a lot of people will say.
By the way, I'm just wondering if Muhammad himself is, you know, Ikhwani, or what strand of Muslim is he then? Because apparently everybody is a strand of is a member of some strand. It seems like there are no actual Salafis anymore, right? I don't know. That's just a question.
All of the examples
throw out there.
Given, the mushkil is being problematized in correspondence with, say, for example, mantiq, logic, or hadith, which is a science, Islamic in its essence, like from a Salafi perspective. But if someone could argue that, well, if you're going to say it's mushkil from the perspective of our culture, so it comes across as capitulatory. So why should we absorb that culture in the first place in order that we may problematize?
Yeah, Muhammad, this is the conversation that should take. Yeah, Muhammad, this is the conversation that needs to take place with our students, and we begin with this and we push it forward. Listen to I'm sure you have. Listen to the talk I gave on the LGBT issue a few months ago when I went over 7 points. The first point of them was exactly what you just said. But ya akhi, you know this as a da'i. I'm speaking to a group that are not even academics, they're awam, right?
So shouldn't you be more clear about what you mean then when you're going to speak to people who don't even know what you're saying about Sharia being problematic? You know what I'm saying?
The point right now is to these people, many of them think Islam is out to kill us. They're demonizing.
So just tell them that it's not, and explain that
is not to convince them
in clear language without insulting Islam or Muslims at the same time, you know, or making us confused.
Guys, you know, your text, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, also has issues that you understand, but you're still believing Christians, okay? Now again,
right, but they're also believing that Christianity is not.
My initial reaction to it is
lots of them are leaving Christianity, okay? The fact is lots of Christians are leaving because they know the book is changed. It's not the same book that was given to Prophet Jesus.
Like the situation for
and they want us to change our book as well. That is the real problem, I think, here. That is the core problem.
Like some of the
like as if, you know, non-Muslims and lay people are going to know that, you know, what is the grammar of the word mushkil, and you know, is that too much to expect from regular people, and then you go and complain that they are misunderstanding you. Okay, this is the end of part 1. Assalamu alaikum.